and we say it as it is. We don't mince any words here on this platform and also on the show called Inside Pages. My name is Audu Moro. It's always a pleasure knowing that you wake up to watch us and you give us all the moral support and the feedback that we so sort of appreciate. And that's why I want to once again say thank you and thank you very much. So this morning on Inside Pages is simple. We're still fighting this menace which is clearly a threat to our very existence. I'm talking about Galamsey, or what technically speaking, that's illegal small-scale mining. And we're still fighting. There's a whole media coalition that's joined this fight against small-scale illegal mining, which is called Galamsey. And we've been having this conversation in the last few months, 3, 4, 5 months or so, and we're continuing with the advocacy because our very lives are at stake. Our very lives are at stake. We've seen a number of protests. We've seen a number of demonstrations. We've seen voices, very critical voices, who have joined the bandwagon of other persons who are calling for our duty bearers to up the tempo, to do a bit more in fighting this national canker. And this morning, this is what the conversation is going to be focusing on. I'm talking about Galamsey. We've also seen the clergy who are very unhappy with what is happening. And we've seen the Catholic Archdiocese of Accra, in collaboration with the Conference of Major Superiors of Religious Ghana and supported by the Catholic lay faithful and professionals, they have been leading what they call an environmental protest, which is in the form of a prayer, a walk, and they did that yesterday. Highly commendable, highly commendable. And this morning, we're going to be looking at these issues and also what government says it has ramped up its fight against small-scale illegal mining, Galamsey. This follows a threat by organized labor to lay down their tools. They're going to go on strike if the government doesn't do something more radical about the fight against Galamsey. And so there have been meetings upon meetings and several meetings, and organized labor says, well, we have suspended the strike until further notice. But ask whether indeed the strike that has been suspended, what does it mean? Does it mean that we've lost the fight, or it's just a temporary setback and we should be able to pick up the pieces and get the government to set up and do a bit more? My name is Audu Moro once again. When I come back, I will be introducing my resource persons and then, of course, the WhatsApp line so that you, as usual, can be an active participant by sending us your views and your thoughts. Stay tuned in.
Over 5 million children have benefited from free SHS. Protect free SHS. Vote Dr. Baumia #1 on the ballot.
In today's modern world, stairs are a challenge, especially for our elderly and those with health concerns. Navigating them can be difficult and even dangerous, but there's a safer way to move vertically. Lifts and Elevators Limited Company, your answer to a more accessible and secure vertical transportation. Our elevators and escalators, including top-of-the-line pneumatic vacuum elevators, Fuji elevators and escalators, offer a safer and more convenient alternative, eliminating the risks of stairs and enhancing accessibility for homes, businesses, and hospitals. Choose safety and convenience with Lifts and Elevators Limited Company. Elevate your spaces today. For more information, visit our website at www.elevatorsgh.org or call now on 0200-535-515. Lifts and Elevators Limited Company, the elevator people.
Auntie Esi, now then I won't what I'm over me one money my busasa.
Auntie Ama, if I tell me by any school, a university. Now scan here 2005. And yet they are many. To my even to my summer, they brought up paper crack. Oh, the family. Oh, yes, men, Fantoman go to feed. It's what is said John Dramani Mahama. Any NDC for say, saying I may have done a gun for 12 Abamana. Waba, Aba University, Technical University, College of Education, Nursing Training, woman in academic fees for first year. Hey, free, no stress. Adama ujiti. Adadwen, another mate dende.
Auntie esi. Hey, she ebiem. Was say, enka nebo siana na obo wo ma omo to asukun so no. Se na obo ne baako a, se wo so obesi ho. E dia ma oma omo to aso no.
Ane ene nyame sha John Mahama.
Ye chame so mu kura ne se. Ye nuanom a omo gidem asabe bread asa. Omo ko sukun pon no. Was say wo mu nyina wo ba. Eye free.
Ane Sioma.
Yay.
Enka me ko nanka na ye 7 December. Nanka ya tro aba na my papa Mahama. Amana be ye president.
Hwe wasitne moto aba pa. E de sakra ya papa beba wa brabo mu. To aba ma John Mahama ne NDC.
I guess yeah. Galam say, I'm said never be why I can. Say auntie say yeah Juma. Maybe can say for my Ghana for A2 Sikano. May Babi Tremu. If just says here to scale more Ganyama. And yet that yeah nanum in the chat says here to scale. Me say sika when you babe to sika ye tiamra and no and a men pressure be babe because illegal mining, that is what I'm against. I babe higher and tebi chema hinkro a brim I am a ball. And number one year to Sikawumu. Densu, Brim, Nina, say, yet to be in mining along the water bodies cannot continue if we want to preserve the nature and our system. Cannot continue. But this say, Galamse for say, pass me, Babe. Dim Rano so on so na election I be MPP for who become. Me dey hear me say me ye de Nyankopon aka kire me say e hia say me ba be ye. Anu na hear me. Na me ba be ye sise ya. E be bo ma no nkoso. Anu na hear me. Nya election asem. De sise ya betumi aye ama o ma no anya nkoso. Yana mu jasasi mai ye tumi nye bibi papa kura yesu enja no sai mai na no ne ko kese a aba efa gadam say.
In recent months, the government has faced significant pressure from labor unions, civil society organizations, the media, and the citizens of Ghana regarding the urgent need to tackle the threat posed by illegal mining to our water bodies and forest reserves. On Tuesday, October 1, organized labor announced a nationwide strike that was scheduled to commence on Thursday, October 11. The union urged the government to impose a ban on all illegal activities due to the government's initial inability to meet the union's demand. During a press conference held at the union's headquarters, General Secretary for the union, Joshua Ansah, conveyed the union's approval of the government's recent initiatives to combat the Galamsey issue, thereby instructing all labor members to refrain from proceeding with a planned strike action.
Yesterday, October 8, 2024, the government team met with the leadership of organized labor and Ghana Employers Association. The meeting discussed at length organized labor's response to the earlier measures announced by government. Following this meeting, government offered enhanced and time-bound measures in respect of our demands and the fight against illegal mining. These measures include: 1, the revocation of the environmental protection, that's the mining in forest reserves, regulations 2022, LI 2642. His Excellency the President has directed the Minister responsible for lands and natural resources to submit a memorandum for the revocation of the LI to Parliament when it reconvenes on Tuesday, October 15, 2024. The redeployment of the military and other law enforcement agencies to flush out illegal miners from water bodies and forest reserves. The military is now supporting the forest guards of the Forestry Commission to protect the forest reserves from destruction by illegal miners and loggers. Government, working with the judiciary, has already established 14 dedicated courts, 7 high courts and 7 circuit courts to handle illegal mining cases. Collaboration with the organized labor and other stakeholders to fight illegal mining, government has asked organized labor to nominate representatives to be part of the stakeholders committee to fight illegal mining in the country. Comrades, organized labor has therefore decided to suspend the internal strike action.
The president of the University of Ghana branch of the University Teachers Association of Ghana, Ransford Jampo, has voiced his discontent regarding the organized labor's decision to initiate a strike. He stated that UTAG will reconvene to respond to the TUC's decision.
Yes, as of yesterday, the 16 public universities, we had voted to go on strike on, as our response, to the fight against illegal mining. And we did not even, I looked at the motion that was tabled, it was not even tied to what organized labor wanted to do. And so I'm in touch with our national president. We are holding our own meeting this evening. And then I'm telling you that we are not going to go by this charade. We are not going to go by this show of incompetence and gross disrespect to other unions for constituting the labor, constituting organized labor.
Before the organized labor's announcement to initiate a strike, several labor unions had already released statements indicating their withdrawal from participating in the planned nationwide strike by UTAG.
The protest was preceded by a service of preparation held at the Holy Spirit Cathedral, which attracted Catholic worshippers and environmental activists from across the capital.
Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners, now and at the hour of our death. Amen. Full of grace, the Lord is with you. Blessed are you amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of your womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners, now and at the hour of our death. Amen.
Worshippers, environmental activists and members of the Crusaders Against Galamsey group walked the streets holding placards with messages calling for an end to illegal mining activities. The protesters called for immediate steps to be taken to curb the menace.
Our environment is just being destroyed. So we go to Mother Mary, who intercedes with us before Jesus and says, help us. And what we need to do when Mother Mary goes to Jesus and she comes back, she says, do whatever he tells you. So we believe that when we have petitioned the president, when we have petitioned God, when we have petitioned Ghanaians to change our attitude, we will do that which is right. Well, it is a prayer. And when you petition somebody, like any prayer, the person can respond yes, can respond no, can respond wait. Ours is to pray. It is his to respond. But posterity will judge.
Military was deployed to other various, the hinterlands, to secure, safety for people.
My brother, that is bullshit. They didn't do anything because it seemed that it was a camouflage.
Okay.
Yes,
that is your belief.
My belief.
It is a camouflage.
Yeah.
That the president will deploy measures to fight Galamsey.
They didn't go to fight anything. If they had fought something, like the doctor would not have come said that nothing they did over there. So they did not do anything. And the government is not doing anything. We are suffering.
Disqualified presidential candidate of the People's National Convention, Bernard Muna, praised the Catholic Archdiocese of Accra for taking a bold stand against illegal mining, commonly known as Galamsey.
All of us are victims of the effects of Galamsey. Poor water, poor environment, bad food. So when the Catholic Church says that We should walk, we should pray, and it's calling on our government to halt the effects of Galamsey on our society, that they should stop the mining processes now. What a cause for all of us to belong to. And so it does not necessarily mean one should even be a Catholic. But once you are a Ghanaian and you are feeling the impact of this Galamsey thing, it is incumbent that you also participate in this kind of work. So,
former Chief Executive Officer of the Minerals Commission, Dr. Tony Obeng, urged Ghanaians to join the fight against the menace.
It behoves on President and the Executive to ensure that our minerals are protected. They are mined in a way that it won't harm us. So at the moment we start mining in a way that harms the environment, we are destroying God's own gift. In the olden days when they do, and it wasn't affecting the water bodies, nobody was complaining, no. And it wasn't affecting the forest, nobody was fighting. Now that's a nerve point.
The group subsequently presented their petition to the Deputy Chief of Staff, who stood in for the Chief of Staff to receive the petition from the Catholic Diocese.
Now, welcome back. This is Inside Pages. As we've always been doing, we build up to the moment, and the moment to have critical conversations, riveting conversations, productive conversations about this country called Ghana. We have a problem, and the problem is that Galamsey is with us, and our water rivers are getting increasingly polluted, and we have to do something more radical. And that's why you've seen persons who normally wouldn't be talking about national issues, so all of them are coming out and, you know, they're talking about it. You saw that woman in the video, in the shot, talking about the fact that, you know, she thinks that, you know, the government or our duty bearers are not really showing enough commitment to fighting this Galamsey. Well, as you do know and I know, organized labor wanted to get the government to do the right things, going to mount a lot of pressure on government to wake up from their slumber. But there's been a U-turn, a very interesting U-turn. There have been a couple of meetings that happened, and organized labor tells us that, look, from what we have heard, we are convinced that the government is doing more, is doing enough to deal with Galamsey. And so, well, let's suspend the strike. We're watching. We'll see how things go. If the government, you know, if the government does not walk its talk, we will be heard from again, or they'll hear from us again. And so that's what organized labor tells us. But there has been a unit of the organized labor. There's actually a group within organized labor, and I'm talking about UTAG, whose Secretary General, or General Secretary, what was the General Secretary? I think it's Secretary General, I believe so. I'm talking about Professor Dransford Jampo, who's a political scientist. He says, well, as for us, UTAG, University of Ghana, Legon, we've taken a decision. We're going on strike. And so they are on strike. You know, they're on strike. And so we'll see how that pans out. But for me, what is, well, you know, okay. So what for me was highly commendable is that we saw the Catholic Archdiocese of Accra, who collaborated with the Conference of Major Superiors of Religious Ghana and supported by the Catholic lay faithful and professionals. They led an environmental protest yesterday. It was massive. Oh, it was massive. I mean, you know, I saw both the elderly and the younger ones, you know, participating in that particular protest. And I've just been told, and well, pardon me, but Mr. Joe Jackson, who is one of my resource persons, I was just telling him the way he wasn't surprised at all, because they've been in the forefront of, you know, advocating and, you know, how do you call it, supporting these kinds of causes. It's called the Worthy Cause. And so for him, it didn't come as a surprise. Anyway, so back in house, let me say that I have Mr. Bemboaching of ASAP. He is also an energy consultant. He is joined us this morning, as well as Mr. Joe Jackson. Wrote that these are not politicians. These are experts in their own fields. They're professionals. Good morning, Ben. It's good to see you. Yeah, good to see you. And then also Mr. Joe Jackson of DLX Finance, the Chief Executive Officer, is also, you know, a social commentator, both social media and traditional media. This is just too passionate about this country. Good morning, sir.
Good Good morning. Good morning.
You don't get tired, do you? I mean,
you can't get tired.
Really?
Yes, you can't.
Sometimes I wonder where you get your energy from.
The fight will continue.
Yeah.
The fight will not end.
Okay.
I mean, today we're going to talk about has the fight ended?
Yeah.
Is this over? And the truth of the matter is that you can't get tired.
Right.
You, as we say, the day you get tired is the day you start to die.
But are you hopeful?
Oh, I'm always hopeful. I am always hopeful.
Right.
I'm also always hopeful because, one, I'm a Christian.
Mm.
Two, wicked people, evil people, don't hold sway forever.
Right.
And they cannot.
Right.
Right. And I use these words in a certain way.
Mm.
If you think that there are people who benefit from Galamsey, and I don't know whether I should still call it Galamsey, but let's use the word because it's emotive.
Right.
Because I don't think that the worst excesses are necessarily done by illegal mining. I think there's some legal mining that is even worse.
Yeah.
But let's call it Galamsey for its word, because it's, after all, whatever it is, it's illegal in the way they mine.
Right.
You're benefiting.
Okay.
And harming a lot of people.
Right.
Leaving people with birth defects for their children. Leaving us with cancers. Leaving us with the collapsed agri sector. That is wickedness.
Right.
That is evil.
Okay.
When there are millions of people who are suffering or potentially going to suffer from this.
Right.
And you look at your piece of cake.
Okay.
Everyone who benefits from this, directly or indirectly, should look at themselves in the mirror and ask, who is evil? Who is wicked? And at that level, you can see why our Catholic clergy, who stand for our salvation, are standing up to be counted.
Right.
Because they're saying clearly that if you do this, you are evil.
Right.
If you do this, you are wicked.
You're wicked.
So I have to have hope.
Right, you have to have
that
hope.
Evil will not triumph.
Right. What I'm going to come to you, Ben, but let me just do this quickly. Derek, let's look at the demands of organized labor, first of all, and then also we'll show to our viewers what the government says it has done. So we're going to do that item by item. So, Derek, if it's ready, please put up on the video. So this is organized labor's demands the government on fighting against illegal mining. One is an immediate declaration of a state of emergency in line with the provisions of the 1992 Constitution, which is Article 31 and 31(4). The declaration must incorporate the following: A, an order to halt all forms of mining in forest reserves and water bodies. B, immediate evacuation of all mining equipment in forest reserves and water bodies. And it goes to, okay, so C, the deployment of police and the military with full orders to remove or destroy all mining equipment. 2, the immediate revocation of LI 2462 and the withdrawal of all licenses that have been granted for prospecting and mining in forest reserves. Number 3, establish a special court to prosecute the perpetrators of this horrible crime. So these are the demands of organized labor. Now let's listen to what government says it has done so far. Now, President Akufo-Addo then reaffirms his commitment to ending illegal mining. 1, he says, deployment of additional military personnel. The President has directed the Minister for Defense to deploy additional military forces to intensify the ongoing Operation Halt, which aims to curb illegal mining activities. The operation will be bolstered by the deployment of naval boats on polluted river bodies to ensure the immediate cessation of all mining activities, legal or illegal, in and around these water bodies. So that's number 1. Number 2, there's been a suspension of mining in forest reserves. The President has instructed the Ministry of Environment, Science, Technology and Innovation, along with the Environmental Protection Agency, that's the EPA, to suspend the enforcement of the Environmental Protection, which is the Mining and Forest Reserves Regulations 2023, LI 2462, with immediate effect. Now, I've actually seen, I've actually read a story where I'm told the AG is already working on a document. He wants to put that before the House of Legislature for the necessary amendments to be made. Number 3, strengthen prosecution of illegal mining cases in a bid to enhance legal action against illegal mining activities. 4, dedicated courts. Yes, dedicated courts have already been established. The president has further directed to the Attorney General to work with the Chief Justice to increase the number of courts handling cases related to illegal mining. That's number 3. And here Mr. Joe Jackson was just telling me off air that he's actually in the known that the Chief Justice himself has expressed his commitment to deal with this. I'm sure when I come back to Mr. Joe Jackson, he would throw some further light on that. There's 4. There's a call for a national pact on illegal mining. The government has urged organized labor to encourage all presidential candidates and their political parties to sign a pact committing themselves to the fight against illegal mining as part of their election pledges. So that's number 4. I believe that's the end, right? Yes, Derek, that's the end, I believe. That's all. Great. So here we go. So let me just say that, the man who's representing the NPP is also with us, but he'll be joining us shortly. In fact, he's with us, but he'll be taking his seat shortly. I'm talking about Mr. Ernest Adade. He is a communications member of both the Bawumia team and the government, the government itself. We're talking about the President Akufo-Addo's, the government of Ghana, so the NPP government. So that's what I'm talking about. So I'll start with, let me come to Mr. Bembachi for just this preliminary thoughts, and then Mr. Joe Jackson would take it from where, I'll continue from where he left off. Now, Ben, I saw you at yesterday's march. I spotted you somewhere, yourself, Senya Hosi, and quite a number of our own very good friend, Samson Ladi Ayenini of Multimedia. What were you doing there? What business did you have joining in that demonstration? What's your motivation?
Yesterday I was somewhere else, I think.
Okay.
But I commend everybody who came out to actually...
Right. Oh, I saw someone who looked like you there. I made a mistake.
Who supported the Catholics.
Right.
I mean, in a situation where we are,
right,
we expect all right-thinking Ghanaians to appreciate the danger we face,
right,
as a people. It's really an existential threat.
Right.
Where, heavy metals are polluting all our water bodies. And all of us eat from those communities.
Right.
The breadbasket of our country is really the Ashanti, the western regions where the vegetables, the maize, and the plantains are coming from. And all those areas are being polluted by the Galamsey activities. So if you live in Accra and you think you are safe, you're not, because you're going to be eating the cyanides, you're going to be eating the leads,
right,
that are coming from those communities. And the way to deal with it is for us to see the challenge in that picture and be able to address it head on. And that is why, not the mass of the population, but those who feel alarmed by the threats and the future we see want government to act and act much more decisively,
right,
to address the problem. And I think the resolve, to shed any accusation or any, pushback, it's extremely commendable. Like Mr. Joe Jackson, who would brave the odds to really position themselves to look for action. We can't but join and ensure that we can pass on a better future to our children and to our children's children.
Right.
And that, for me, is what all of us should be doing. We are all under threat. We are under siege by a group of people who are thinking about their pockets for now. They want to destroy the environment. Perhaps they have another country somewhere that they want to go to and don't care what they do to the environment. So we need people. We need more people of conscience to step up at this point. And it hurts that people who are intelligent enough to even understand the threat we face, for one reason or the other, can shelve that intelligence and say, let's not act, let's not do the right thing at this point. But we need to keep calling on people to see the danger we face and address it head on. This Galamsey thing has lived with us for a while, and it keeps escalating. We don't know to what end. If everybody is allowed to mine anywhere there is gold, we'll end up even mining the Flagstaff House in a few years to come. All right, and we need to address this quickly so that people are not emboldened to think that once you have an excavator, you can just go mine everywhere. You think there is gold. And that's why we are in this situation. Because look at the amount of licenses that have been granted and track them and how they happen is actually legitimizing the illegality that is happening across the country. So you go start mining, and all it takes is for you to go find your way and register and get a party card. And then you can use that to go through a process to get a license for it. You may not even be a party member, but it has become the norm and the channel to actually get a license. So you just associate, go get a license and start mining indiscriminately. So what they are calling license mining is actually legalization of the illegality that we have seen over time in our river bodies, on our lands and agriculture farms. I mean, check the videos. You see people mining in between cocoa farms, right? Yeah. Very soon, our cocoa export is going to have problems. But once people start seeing lead and cyanides in the cocoa beans, who are you going to export to? So it is really an existential threat that we need people to put up their thinking cap to see how we save this country going forward. Otherwise, there will be no country for us.
You know, this one factor which appears to be hampering so government's efforts to sort of, do a bit more, which is to act a bit more radically about dealing with this problem. One of it is that there's a certain feeling amongst the political class, and here I'm talking about the NPP, and they've said it quite, they've said it quite a number of times, that why the noise about fighting Galamsey now, when it's just 56 days to elections, and that somebody smells a rat. Somebody smells a rat. That we have been faced with Galamsey problems for the longest time. It's just 56 days to elections, and all of a sudden, we've had all these groups coming out to say fight Galamsey, and they say, listen, hold on. It's just 56 days. Let's finish with elections. Of course, if I'm MPP, I'll say Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia will come and deal with the Galamsey, and he will deal with it decisively. In fact, he will do the things you're asking this government to do. And then the NDC will also say, well, we're in a position. We really don't have much power. We don't have the executive power. All we can do is also to join you just like everybody else in telling the government to do the needful. I don't know what you think about this. I mean, there's suspicion that there's more to this fight the Galamsey thing than meet the eye, which is somebody's up to some kind of mischief. And Big J, I'll come to you on the same question too. Ben, I don't know what you think about this.
I think that's why we simplified it for the government and for the president.
Okay.
State of emergency. Let everybody stop, whether you're NDC or you're MPP, stop mining.
But it will have dire consequences for the economy.
Ignore that. I mean, so all of us should die in the end. the cyanides don't have consequences on us. Yeah. We are killing ourselves, and we're talking about economic consequences. Who is benefiting from it? The small-scale gold that is smuggled out of the country, that is exported out of the country. We can't even account for the volume of gold that is produced. I mean, what economics are we talking about when we are killing ourselves?
Right.
So you stop it, and that helps you to reflect, think through who is mining the right way, who has the license, how did you get a license, are the licenses being dished out anyhow, so that we can properly reflect on this as a nation without thinking about whether it is NDC person that is mining or is an NPP person that is mining.
It's immaterial.
Let's stop it. It's immaterial. We are under threat. We are under siege by a group of greedy people who just want to mess everything for us.
Can't we wait after the elections?
Why should we wait after the election? It's not an election matter.
Days.
It's a national security, a problem.
Yeah.
Everybody is under threat. All of us. Do you know what we're going to be drinking tomorrow?
Yeah, that's true.
The pollution in the eastern region has already affected what is that?
Wager Dam.
Right? So the cyanides and the leads, they are already coming to Accra. And most of the people who are bottling water today, they just clean it up and they bottle it. The heavy metals are there. A lot of them, particularly the sachet water producers. So people are drinking them even in Accra here. So why should we do politics with this?
So
it is just for the president to act and say, let everybody stop. Wherever you are mining, let's audit them. And that gives the Minerals Commission and people who are supposed to act the room to now go audit all the licenses that they even have issued, whether they are monitoring them right, who has tailings dam to be doing small-scale mining, so that we are not spilling the lead into the river bodies, and it's actually controlled.
Right.
So that you don't even have the military going about burning excavators that we have imported with dollar. All right? So that we can have common sense approach to dealing with the problem.
Yeah.
Not a radical approach that burns few things here and there, but let's have a reflective approach that deals with the problem head on, without politicizing it. Because this is an existential threat that we don't really need to politicize at this point. And the way to deal with it is get everybody to stop.
Mr. Joe Jackson, I'll come to you just. I just want to introduce Mr. Endestad. He's been seated here for a while, and I want to sincerely apologize for that because I should have introduced him a while ago. Good afternoon, Yemi. Tete, how are you?
Thank you.
I'm
fine.
sure
I thought I heard you say good afternoon.
I have a show in the afternoons too, so sometimes exactly. It happens. I'm sorry about that, but it's good to see you. Good to see you. That's Enes Adade. He's the MPP's rep on the show this morning. He's a senior communications person for the New Patriotic Party, and he's also a very good friend of the media. And so I always want to thank you very much for his time. Big J, same question to you. Why this pressure now? It's only 56 days to elections. Why weren't you talking about this a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago?
No. There's a specific reason why the pressure is now.
Tell me.
Weeks back, Ghana Water Company came and made a statement, specific, and that was the trigger.
Yeah, Central Region.
About the Central Region.
Yes.
And it sort of crystallized everybody's mind. So if anybody who tells me that, why the pressure? I say, you're not serious. You don't understand what's happening. What is happening is that when Ghana Water made the statement about the turbidity and about their inability to provide clean water to the Central Region, and to the fact that because of what we've done, the process of clearing the water cannot be done with alum anymore. It has to be done with polymers, which cost 4 times as much. Yeah. So gave us a warning that expect to pay 4 times as much for your water as or close to that as you're paying. And warned us also that what they do is to clarify the water. They don't treat the heavy metals present. Speaking for myself, right? I mean, I've always been against Galamsey. I've always spoken out against Galamsey. But that triggered the thought that, Joe, you must do more.
Right.
And I was on the platform with you. How many weeks ago? 3-4 weeks ago, talking about Galam and talking about this issue and making specific reference to the
Central Region issue.
The Central Region issue.
Yeah.
And this was on a Twitter space.
Right.
Right? Which leads me on to talk about the Twitter space had Kalije on there.
Okay.
So the two of us should maybe be able to bear some responsibility as to birthing the demonstration that took place by the young people 2 weeks ago.
Which got them incarcerated.
Yes. No, not that one.
Not that one.
No, the one
that you joined.
The one that I joined by Kalije.
Cool.
I know them by their
Kalije is also called
the real names.
The real names, yes.
There's Sneak Anyame,
right.
there's Kalije,
okay.
there's
one Olele or something.
Yes, those are the guys.
Those are the guys, yes.
Those guys were the ones who were on the platform with us on Twitter.
Okay.
Yes, and those are the ones that I had an opportunity to even speak to.
Yeah.
And that was why I felt a commitment, I felt a need to go out there and support them.
Right.
So I will say to everybody who says, why this time? I'll tell you that, no, it is this time because, and it is, things are always triggered by moments. The moment that water company issued a statement, it sort of brought home, boom.
Right.
This is not a joke anymore. I'm not twice removed anymore. I cannot. If Ghana Water says this time there's no, and I agree with you. We have lost time. Do you know what we are trying to do? We are not even trying to save those water bodies. Let's be clear. Those water bodies will take years, decades to fix. What we are trying to do is to save the Volta and other unpolluted waters from going bad. We are already in an emergency. The existential threat is now. It's not in the future. And anybody who tries to say, why now? I say, why not now? How many people are under dialysis? Yeah. Why has kidney dialysis become such an emotive issue? How many people, why is there a cluster of birth deformities in Galamsey areas? Why is there why are there 24,000 cases of cancer from Galamsey areas in the last 2 years? When do you want to, so for me, my response is simply this. The Ghana Water report crystallized everybody's mind. Do you know what they said? We are over 4,000 times above the legal permitted turbidity.
That's alarming.
Alarming.
Scary.
Scary. You see, I keep saying this. Why not now? 2 weeks ago, sister-in-law brought me kenke from
Winneba.
No, from Yamaransa. I was on the road. She's coming to Accra. She brought me kenke. Yeah. I'm a fancy man. I'm from Winneba. Right. Kenke. I was brought. For the first few years of my life, I ate kenke every day. Kenke, fancy kenke. Fancy kenke. Abanku without the cassava dough. Right. So it's me. It's who I am. I take the kenke and then I just get this kenke feeling. Should I be eating this?
Region.
Guys, and then you're asking me when? Why now? You ate cocoa this morning, didn't you?
Well, maybe I did.
Where's the water from?
Yeah, that's a good question. Where's
the water from? Where's the water from?
Yeah. Right.
Those of us who are trying, you had some vegetables? Were the carrots made in Europe? Or you bought local carrots? That is why it has to be.
The minister says it's not as alarming as some of you are saying. I mean, he drinks how do you call it, pipe-borne water, and he's fine.
Moro, I'm coming. Hold on. There was a placard that was on there on the Friday of that 3-day young person's demonstration, and I won't mention the restaurant's name because it's not fair, but it's a restaurant that is associated with the ruling clique. And the banner said, in that restaurant, do you think they cook with Bell Aqua?
Right.
Then it says, it answers the question. We all they use Galamsey water. Forgive me. Who bathes with bottled water?
Right.
Yeah.
If you bathe the heavy metals, I assure you, your body will absorb the metals. So unless you tell me that you are bathing with bottled water, and even then, it is only clear. We don't know where the sources of the water came from. Boro, I have one problem.
Tell me.
My problem is, where is corporate Ghana in all this?
Yeah, they've been very silent.
Yes, the silence is
deafening.
It's deafening.
Yeah.
The producers of water, what are they telling us?
Right. So
Do they realize that very soon we're going to have to ask EPA to produce special stickers to certify special certification that your water is free from heavy metals? Do they realize what it will do to their production? Yeah. You produce beverages. Maybe you buy some ingredients from outside. But is the water not local? So all our beverage companies, the multinationals, the local ones, where are they in this fight? Does corporate Ghana realize that our health bills are going to go up, our health insurance premiums are going to go up? Somebody asked me, Joe, why were you the only one at the demonstration? Why were you there? I said, no. You should be asking all the others, not asking me. Because they are intelligent people. They won't be heads of their institutions. They are intelligent people. They know. So where are they? Where in this fight? Your health bills are going to go up. The economy is going to... Listen, the financial sector, do they realize what Galamsey and its effect will do to the CD and the value of the CD? Why are they not in this fight?
So you feel some corporate organizations are still removed or detached?
No, Ghana, kakra yebidinti is what is killing us. All of us, kakra, we lack a social conscience. Where is the talk about ESG for our corporate Ghana? And they hold conferences and they talk about ESG. What matter is more pressing? Sorry, I'm getting
emotional about it.
What matter is more pressing than Galamsey? It will affect the bottom line. You will start importing water. It will start. And listen, the same size of water, local, 202 cedis, 50 pesos. Imported, 16 cedis. Try that one.
Yeah.
Try that one. 6 times, 7 times. Try that one. What are we talking about? Why are they not there? Why is it taking a few individuals to put on a red band?
You're going to leave us in the next 15 minutes.
Yes,
let me run this by you, and then maybe in the next 5 minutes you can address it. So we're all looking up to organized labor to fight this cause. Of course, to join us in fighting this cause, let me put it that way. And then organized labor threatens that on the 10th of October they'll be striking. And then they're called into a meeting once, and then after that second meeting, there is some kind of a division. And then organized labor says, we have listened to our leaders, and our leaders have convinced us, based on everything they've said, that some efforts are underway to deal with this Galamsey problem. And so we've called off the strike. There are some who feel that this strike, which has been suspended, not call off, the strike which has been suspended, has dealt a bigger blow to our fight against this menace of Galamsey. I don't know where you stand on this. I mean, what did organized labor's suspension of the strike meant to you?
You see, 2 things. We are in a state now where the politicians are more frightened of the 500,000 who benefit from Galamsey.
That's a fact.
Than they are frightened of people like us who are suffering. I believe that those of us who are suffering are in the millions. What organized labor did clearly was to tell them, you are frightened of the 500,000, be more frightened of us because we are more than those people you think. If you lose our votes, it will hit you harder than the people who benefit from Galamsey. And for me, that was a very important lesson. Good to see you, sir. That was a very important lesson because all of a sudden, in the minds of the political class and especially the NPP, who had always made this into a partisan issue, who had presented a veneer as if you speak against Galamsey, you're speaking against the NPP, which was sad. Galamsey is national. Galamsey does not care about age. It doesn't care about gender. It doesn't care about religion. It definitely doesn't care about party. If your water is polluted, it won't look at you and decide that if I'm NDC, my water is clear. If I'm MPP, my water is cloudy, or vice versa. The biggest thing is that we drove home clearly that there are more people worried about the Galamsey issue than you think. People who are prepared to speak up, people who are prepared to stand up to be counted. For me, that in itself was a victory. To get the government even to agree to repeal the LI was a victory. Now, is the battle done yet? No. So, in a sense, I look at both sides and I can see both sides of the argument. And it depends on how vociferous you are to sit on this side or that side. Did they get some movement? Yes. They got the LI repealed. They got an effort, be the show, they got some effort to be made or promised to make sure that our water bodies are not being mined. Right? They got a response. That response would never have come unless it was organized labor threatening a strike. So was that important? Yes. I also agree with those who say, no, it's not enough. Why? Because we can look in our recent past. How many years ago did this Galamsey issue arise? When did we hear the government, the president say he's put his presidency on the line?
Well, I've got some good news for you. The president will be talking to us tonight.
I hope so.
Yes.
I hope so. I'm not holding my breath.
Carlos Von Brazi. I heard Carlos Von Brazi, who is the deputy chief of staff, tell the pastors or the Catholics who went on that march that the president will be talking to us this evening.
And I doff my hat to the Catholics. They've always been the Catholic Sentinel. I was trying to remember the name. They've always been in Unigolf times. They were always in the forefront of our social conscience. And we say thank you to the Diocese of Accra and the bishops and all those who walked that day. Thank you to them. Listen, if people say, if UTAG says that you're not convinced, I stand with them.
Really?
Yes. The Catholic Standard, not the Sentinel. Catholic Standard. Thank you. Catholic Standard. If it says that they are not convinced, I stand with them because we have history in our past where this thing bubbled over, and by the time we finished, excavators were missing, champagnes were missing, more licenses were produced. So those who say that I don't trust this,
right?
I have to.
You can't force them.
I have to stand with them,
right?
Because you see, will you eat the ball of kinky from Yamaransa tomorrow? Even if you eat it, will you eat it with a clear sense that this is nourishing my body and feeding my body and making me productive? I don't know.
Whilst you're talking, just by the by, in just a minute, would you have asked your staff or your workers to join the strike? I was just thinking, because I've heard people say, you guys, you do all the big talk, but when it comes to action, sometimes there's a bit of,
there's
inertia.
There's no bigger action than the CEO of your company being on demonstration.
That's it.
There's no bigger action. Go on social media.
Right.
The Dalex products stand up to be counted. We are the only Ghanaian products on social media who have put out tweets and Facebook posts about the damaging effect of Galamsey.
Right.
So I stand up to be counted.
Right.
And I say, if half of corporate Ghana did,
maybe perhaps would have made some more progress.
Yes, perhaps we need UTAG to say they're on a strike, because UTAG being on strike doesn't help us.
I get it.
Moro, I have to.
You have to go. Mr. Joe Jackson is the chief executive of Dalex Finance. He has to take leave of us. But let me say that one very important guest has joined us. That I'm talking about Mr. Kojo Chumbuafo. He's the former chief executive officer of the Ghana Free Zones Board. He's also a leading member of the NDC. So you can say the politicians are seated with us. So there's MPP, NDC, and then there's the guys from the corporate space or the corporate world, Mr. Joe Jackson and Ben Boache. But Mr. J, Big J as we call him, thank you so very much for your time.
Thank you very much. Let me say hello to my...
to Mr. Chukwuemeka.
Yes, my big brother.
Yeah, so I'll come back to, you, Ernest, before Ben, you come in. Ernest, yes, I mean, we've seen some actions. We've seen the police, we've seen that the military be deployed to some Galamsey sites, and I've heard the leader of the team say that they're going to be visiting all those Galamsey sites, but they won't tell you and I when and where. We're also aware, as Carlos Ombrasi has said, that the president is going to be addressing Ghanaians this evening. What do you know? I mean, is the president going to be addressing us based on the clarion call we have made on him, or he already had intentions of addressing us? I don't know whether you know this, or you were just going to be expressing an opinion. But there's a certain sense that all of the actions that are happening is cosmetic. It's just going to be a 9-day wonder.
Thank you, Moro, and let me greet my brother and Ben too. I think today's conversation was occasioned by my brother Kudu's
credit to him.
We have a
part two
of
right.
what we had last
right.
week.
Right.
So as I greet the whole,
that's absolutely true.
And let people understand that, please, I cannot sit here without doing the usual politics.
Please do. Please do. Feel free.
We are voting on the 7th of December, and I am entreating everyone, just don't look anywhere, just look at the top and put your finger there for His Excellency Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. And I'll explain as we towards the tail end of this show.
Right.
There were a few questions I wish to address.
And before you go ahead, let me say that Mr. Austin Game will also be joining us right here in the studio in the next 10 minutes. He sent me a message. He'll be joining. He's on his way here. Yeah. He is a labor expert and also a dispute resolution expert as well. So he has expertise in both areas. So he'll be joining us shortly. Please go ahead.
Thank you. So I nearly dropped. I had a question for him when I saw the flyer, so I dropped it. I just put it.
You mean Austin Game?
Yes.
Oh, okay. All right. He'll be here shortly.
So the CEO, Baylex, just made mention of one thing, that people are feeling that if you speak against Galamsey, then you are speaking against the MPP. That's completely not the case.
Okay.
In fact, I believe that nobody had made efforts. I'm not saying nobody had made efforts before, but nobody had done it better than this current MPP government had done it. Maybe if I use the word better, it should be used advisedly. Better here in the context means that we fought it with the biggest of the energy than any other government before us. And the reason why I always say that is a few months after His Excellency Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo took office, that was when he declared that he was even going to put his presidency on the line. By the time he was taking office, evidently, the Galamsey had gone out of hand, or let me put it quote unquote, mining had become a problem before he took over. Because this thing happened, that statement everybody is making reference to, happened even before he appointed all his ministers. Immediately he took office, I think he made a diplomatic call and some chiefs and people, and he said everybody should always go and listen to that video. He said he believes that the people who are doing these things, they have to feed their families, they have to do this, they have to do that, but we cannot go in this direction. Immediately he took office. Before he could even bring his cabinet together, he made this statement. They should tell everybody that the man came to meet a very bad situation. The situation is not bad today. It was bad before he made that declaration. Very bad before he made the declaration. He did the things he had to do. I said, in all the actions that every government had taken before him, he went further to the extreme. Anytime a government or a country scrambles its military, it tells you that things were getting out of hand. Because everybody will want to use the police until when we are not able to manage the situation. And when you send the military out, you expect certain things from them. Unfortunately for us, all these actions were taken, but the result did not show in our rivers. And the unfortunate thing also happened when the 2020 election brought in another consideration to the whole Galamsey fight. And then some people felt that the NPP was losing out with the level of aggression that they were putting into the fight. But all these things notwithstanding, the reason why I said when Austin Garrett gets here,
do you have a question for him?
Then I would have asked him, because I listened to him on one radio station yesterday, where he was referencing buying bottled water, unimported bottled water. So I don't want to forget that.
That's fine.
We haven't gotten to the point where all that we are saying now had kicked in. Our brother from I'm sorry, I don't have that full name, so forgive me.
Is it Joe Jackson? Joe Jackson.
Mr. Joe Jackson.
Yes.
Just mentioned cyanide in the water, heavy metals in the water. These are facts that the people who are doing Galamsey and even the people doing legal mining, some of them are deploying all these things to get their gold. But let's be careful. I am telling you on authority, and that is where I have a big problem also with our professors, Professor Jampo and his team, going on a strike when we are expecting academia to be providing us with data backed with research so that we can all make more informed decisions and commentary
the Academy
on
of Arts,
all these things.
The Academy of Arts and Science.
Yes.
Have produced a 30-something page report.
I haven't seen it.
You haven't seen it, yes, on Galamsey. And
Okay.
they have provided in that document very concrete steps and actions that the government.
I'm interested in the
No,
pollutants.
No, it's big. It's big. So massive. It's massive.
So we have the pollutants.
Yes.
What are polluting our waters now?
All of that is contained in that
And
document.
I heard somebody speak about if you take the eastern part of Accra, they get their water from the Weja
Dam.
The dam there. And you will realize that even though we haven't had water, we haven't had the pollutants, the kind of pollutants we are seeing, the turbidity and all that, go that bad in Weja. There are other things that are polluting the waters there, other than Galamsey. Serious ones that you will not be comfortable talking about them on radio and TV. In the same way,
Don't worry, you're talking about fecal matter and refuse dumping and all of that.
you will realize that if you take the water that we are talking about now, we those in the eastern part of Accra, we are getting it from Kpong. So the water from Kpong hasn't gone that bad as we are talking about from the western side. I will be more careful when I'm raising the kind of allegations Mr. Joe Jackson had just raised. We are all worried about the effects of Galamsey and all that it is doing to our food. But let me tell you, I read somebody's document where he was talking about we seeing lead and other heavy metals in food up north, not in the areas where they are mining. So I asked the question, where is that one coming from? And he asked me, how do we dispose of the lead and other things that we get from our car batteries when they are worn out? How are we disposing of our batteries when they are worn out? So some of the kind of pollutants we are seeing in the food, they're not necessarily coming only from Galamsey. So it tells you that the fight should rather be bigger. The explanations and the education to the public should be wider. And we should understand what we are doing to the environment when we do A, B, C, D. Using Galamsey as a tool, and you mentioned it rightly, I think you asked the right questions. We have turned Galamsey into an electoral tool now to fight against government just because we are 2 months away from election. So I want to ask all of us around the table and everybody listening to us. My brother Ben said something, and immediately I took my pen and wrote it. He said, let's have a reflective approach to this. Let's think about the solutions properly. Because the moment we have used this as a political tool, and we use it to fight the sitting government, and the demonstrations are happening, and everybody, the works are happening, and MPP leaves power, and the NDC is still working in the Galamsey sites, telling them that Nanado is wicked. I saw a video last night where they are upset with the burning of the excavator. I think there was one excavator that was burnt, and the champagnes, and I saw the venom with which the young men, I don't know where they are, have gathered, and they are saying, we will vote against the party, we will rise again. This is not about a party. We said it is an existential threat. And all that we are doing now is to fight it politically, that in 2 weeks, how is Nanado going to change the level of the water and bring down the turbidity from the 4,000 they are talking about to 8? In fact, Ghana Water had come to say that wherever they are processing water, the turbidity had dropped. I listened to the chief executive of Ghana Water speak about that.
Right.
It has dropped drastically. And as these efforts are made, it will get better. But what I'm saying is, are you sure it is mercury we are seeing in our water? And where is the data? I haven't seen it. And that's why I said I haven't seen that document. I'm going to trace it and read it properly.
You should try and get it.
I'm going to get it. Because, you know, anybody who knows anything about mercury knows that mercury is quite heavy, right? So when mercury gets into the water, within the shortest possible time, the mercury falls into the soil. So the mercury can poison the cocoa. But if you come downstream where most of our people will fetch the water, because I don't believe anybody is fetching the Galamsey site water to drink. We are going down. By the time it is getting downstream for the villagers to be fetching, most of the mercury would have gone into the soil. I want to see academia come with this kind of data that I can speak to.
Right.
But the academia leaving that and joining in a strike, you said you want to see the government do something. The government said, I am going to do. You said it is not enough. In fact, that very day, the government issued an order that the military should go. Tuesday, take the law that is creating problems, the act that is creating problems for people going into the forest to go and work. Let's take it and repeal it. He has done all these things. We still say, in fact, the professors say they are still not satisfied, and we will still not teach the children. What is not teaching the children going to do with the damaged water? What? My daughter is in the school, and you're not going to teach my daughter. What will that one do to help the turbidity of the water come down? I don't get it. I don't get it, but they get it. In fact, I am expecting them to tell me, who do not have the capacity they have, that this is what the situation is now. This is our proposed solution. Not just a strike, or the president should use 6 weeks to go and turn the water from that muddy thing we are seeing to something else within 6 weeks. I will go with my brother Ben. Let us think of the proper solutions we can give. How are we going to manage the situation from now? If you know China, you know the Yellow River.
Right.
The Yellow River, the color is just like some of these our polluted waters. But they have been able, they use it to do a lot of things. My point is, I'm not saying people should go ahead doing Galamsey. I mean, if they are going anywhere, anybody is going on Galamsey, I will join them. Except that turning that fight into a political tool is wrong. Let me tell you, in the kind of politics we have done in Ghana, you do me, I do you, is what is happening.
But where's the politics?
So now that...
But where's the politics in this?
The politics in this.
What's the politics?
Within 6 weeks.
Okay.
Or 8 weeks.
Right.
Since this, or let's say 3 months.
Okay.
That you are telling the president, do it now. We want to see the water clear. Organized labor did the right thing by saying, you have given us reasons why we can call off the strike. You say you are going to put, we want the military in there, they are going, we want operation, what to take place, it is happening, we want the law repealed, it's going to parliament to be repealed, and the repealing will not be just a day, or they might have to go and deliberate and argue and do whatever they have to do about it. But that law, whenever I sit with NDC people who reference that law, when was the law passed? Do you remember when the law passed? When?
What's the point here?
The point here is that the law passed in 2022.
Okay.
In 2022, as at the time that law was coming out of Parliament, we knew that the MPP had 2 members who are not on seat. Right? 2 members of the MPP, the parliamentarians, were not on seat. But the law passed. What it means is that either some people from the other side joined people from here, and then they passed the law. There might be a reason. I want that reason. And the reason I can tell you, I think, is that we have, in 2022, by 2021, the economy had started moving into a recession.
Right.
By 2022, things were getting bad. And we have gold that we can leverage on to save ourselves the big trouble. Nobody has said this, but common sense tells me this. If we have gold that can save us from the big trouble, why don't we rely on the gold? And most of them, the fastest we can get most of them will be in some of these forest areas. The Amazon, people are going into the Amazon to get certain critical things. Why? Because when the West comes to the West, you will have to do something. And I believe, this is not, I haven't read it anywhere, I believe that to go and give mining license to Newmont, we did never, if you see anybody, any small scaler in any forest reserve, is doing the illegal thing we are all talking about and fighting against now. Because nobody was given a license, no small scaler was given a license to go into a forest. So we gave it to the big ones, Newmont. There were three of them who were given these licenses to go into these forest areas. Ghana Manganese, which manganese has always been mined in these forest areas. The manganese is found in areas that are forest areas, the Tiwa area and all that. The areas where we are manganese, and this has always been in the forest. It's not new. Number 2, the Newmont was the new one that I hear went there. Then we have Ghana Bauxite. They've always done it in the forest. So the only one we know for a fact that has a license to mine in the forest now, today, as we speak, is Newmont. And I think 1 or 2. And they are all the very large scale ones. We saw it, I believe, I'm saying I didn't read this anywhere, nobody briefed me. But we saw it as an end, a means to an end that we needed urgently. So you will realize, go back, I gave you some statistics last week, that in 2022, 7.1% of our total GDP came from gold only. In 2023, 8.1% of GDP. That was a country in a recession. That is getting 8.1%. Somebody wakes up tomorrow and say, ban all of them. Stop everybody.
Okay, I'll come back to you for a second round.
It will not add up for anybody who is the president at the time.
You disagree. I'll come back to you for a second bite of the cherry, but let me come to Mr. Kwadwo Mboafo. You've heard everything he said. I don't need to ask any questions. But what's your response to some of the things he said?
You see, my brother Ernest, you are trying to be the voice of reason at a time when hope is not a plan. Hope. No, it's not a plan. What you people are asking for is hope. Hope is not a plan. Let me take you back to 2015 and 2016. Did you people think that Dumsor was a national problem?
This is what I just said.
No.
If you do you do me,
I
do
heard
you
that you do me, I do
say
you.
will not stop. But because the moment you let's say
Ernest, I listen to you. I listen to you. I'm asking you a rhetorical question. Because Dumsor was a phenomenon that started because the electricity sector had not been invested in since 1962.
I disagree.
No, hold on.
We will come there, but
please. Achampong, whom we caught and shot for absolutely no reason, built the Pong hydroelectric project, which sought to capture power from the lower Volta basin. That was the only substantive investment that had been done into energy sector before the Dumsor issues, cyclical Dumsor issues, started during the time of President Rawlings. In 2014, 2015, you blamed it on President Mahama. At that time, did you think it was a national matter?
These are not
Hold on,
facts.
hold on.
They are all not facts.
Oh,
yeah. So you finish.
Oh, please,
They are not
stop
facts,
it. Stop it.
Stop.
Two people went to the well, and Aben Meboa. Dumso was the reason why the NDC lost power in 2016. You people went and made Dumso a national issue. Eslowusu was flying from radio station to TV station on her broomstick, drinking Red Bull as she goes along. Today, where is she? Where are all the others? You see, Ernest, your lands minister and the ministry and the mining commission, minerals commission, have given out over 1,700 mining licenses in forest reserves. What do you expect? You wanted a scientific explanation on mercury and gold. Let me give it to you. Mercury and gold are next to each other on the periodic table, if you remember your chemistry. Mercury is cheap to obtain. It forms what you call an amalgam with the gold. So they are able to extract it. There's a separation and then evaporation. They burn it to get the gold. Now, the problem you have with mercury is that you cannot destroy it. So you were wondering how it gets into the system.
No,
the water.
Not the
What there is an engineering phenomenon called seepage, drainage, and groundwater flotation, right? Water and the elements move through the soil, and the soil acts as what you call a semi-permeable membrane. So sooner or later, it will get to where you don't want it to get. But even before it gets, the mercury gets to East Legon.
The reference is the fear and panic now.
Hold on. Even before it gets to East Legon, Ken made a very simple reference to Fanti Genke from Yamranza or Acheke from Elubo. When you go and sit in the top bar and you ask them to give you Acheke, do you know where it came from? When you go and sit in the restaurant, not forget chop bar. So maybe chop bar is too drastic a reference. When you go and sit somewhere and you ask for fufu and bushmeat, do you know where the bushmeat came from?
Where is the mercury in the water? That's what I checked.
I'm saying that they throw the residue into the water, and you cannot destroy mercury. So over time, yes, over time, yes.
I don't have a problem when we.
So over time,
with the cocoa.
Hold on.
Problem when anybody tells
Ernest,
the people of Ghana
Ernest,
that your water contains mercury.
Ernest, you are actually trying very hard to
No,
distract
I
me from
have
speaking.
differentiated.
Let me speak.
When
Maybe
it's done,
I'm giving you
Yeah.
a scientific reason. I'm a civil engineer, 34 years into this business. I know what I'm saying. I'm telling you that it seeps. It is called seepage. It seeps into the soil. If you don't understand it, you can go and ask God. But I'm just telling you what happens. And then you were told that these days the water company is treating the water with polymers. We should be very alarmed, because do you know that in certain jurisdictions, wastewater is treated with polymer by a process called flocculation. Flocculation means the polymers bind all the solid waste in the system to form large chains called polymeric flocks, right? And then they are able to be separated from the water. But you know what they use the water for? To water their grass. So you are told that do not drink water that is separated with flocculation, because it hasn't been fractioned. So you see, where we are going It's very dangerous. And when you people sit here and tell us it is not political, the Oxford Dictionary defines politics as the business of the people. When you are poisoning our water, it's not the business of the people. What are you talking about? Haven't you heard of the saying that water is life? The very essence for which we live is life. You have an Ashanti regional chairman of the MPP who has no problem sitting on his radio station showing us gold bars from Galamsey.
Did he say it came from?
Then he tells us, oh, but the Minerals Commission has openly, the ministry has openly said he was mining in a forest reserve in the Nimri forest. The Nimri forest is the same forest that supplies water to the Tano River. The Tano River is the same forest that supplies water that goes to the Barikesi Dam in Kumasi. So in Twi, we have a saying, say, Kitesikanaka Dumpe. Right? You are holding the gold bars, you have poisoned the water, and when you finish, you go and drink the water and bath with it. And you think you are safe, and he's still sitting on that studio, issuing threats about what he's going to do to the NDC on the electoral roll. He's still sitting there. Have you arrested him? You have enough police. You have enough police to arrest demonstrators, but you have only 100 soldiers to tackle Galamsey, moving from Birim to Tado to Pra. When they leave the Birim, the people won't go back here. You see, the government, this government should sit down, exercise humility, stop intimidating people who want to go and demonstrate like Kofi Juma, a 74-year-old man who shouldn't even be the CEO of any company because he's past 60, right? He's 74 years old. He's simply there because he's an in-law of the president. His son is married to the president's daughter, so he gets up and does whatever he wants. His sister is the chief of staff. So when we talk about friends and family, people say, oh, there's that. Kofi Juma only sits in Gihok and threatens workers because he can. Right? Nobody has said anything about it. Isaac Amu, another shameless opportunist, sits and goes to threaten Ghana Meteorological Authority workers that you cannot go on if you go on demonstration, you sack. Who the hell are you to sack anybody who goes on lawful demonstration? Who the hell are you? Who are you? Have they not read the Constitution? And then you people come back and say, oh, we are going to repeal the law. Have you not read Article 3 of the Constitution? You cannot apply laws retrospectively. You can't. You can't. So the people that you have given the mining licenses to go into the mineral, the forest reserves, legally, they can still mine.
So you cannot withdraw your licenses you have issued? Is that what you're saying?
You can listen.
First of all, the law must be repealed.
Stop this. Okay. If you repeal the LI, I'm saying that technically, by the letter of the law, you can only not give more licenses, but those who have been given licenses can still mine. That is why some people were demanding that put a state of emergency,
declare state of emergency
at those things and stop it. Say you stop, just stop it, because not very smart. You see, excuse me to say, a bunch of very stupid people, excuse me to say, use that language, decided that it was okay to go into forest reserves and mine. I heard you saying, oh, Ghana Manganese, Newmont. Let's just assume that the trade was wrong. Let's just assume that it was wrong, because I've been told that Ghana Manganese started mining since 2015 or something like that.
No, Ghana Manganese.
Sorry, I said 1915. 1915. Right. Okay? So let's just say
it transcended your government.
Let's just say trade was wrong.
The government.
Right. Let's just say trade was wrong. Right? Trade was wrong. And you've increased it to 2,700. Right? That makes you very smart. But the whole idea of what is going on is that you have people in power who want to abuse the environment willy-nilly for their own enrichment. Yesterday, in the studio upstairs, in this company, Okujeto revealed that there's one Audu Isaka who has 13 mining licenses under different companies. Let me tell you that it's not only 13. And in the coming days, you will find out that it is much more.
Really?
So, yes. So, on whose watch was one person giving all those licenses? You see, it is the recklessness, right? The chicanery and the corruption with which, Ernest, I feel sorry for you. You know why I feel sorry for you? Because you sit here and by dint of your party affiliation, you have to come out with a cogent and reasonable explanation for what is going on. But the real reason why this is going on is in black and white. Which lunatic says that go into our forest reserves and go and mine? Which lunatic does that? On the altar of political expediency. But you see, Moro, you have heard the real sentiments in the MPP coming from the likes of Ketemfua, who has said, wait for 3 months after the election, we will tackle Galamsey. The president's posture is exactly that. Right? You have heard from George Mirekuduka, the Deputy Minister of Lands and Forestry, who has also said, after the election, we will tackle Galamsey.
He says, wait.
I asked him why somebody would want to wait
right
after the election. Because you are there telling them I will release you.
Because, but you are in government.
So what do you want him to do?
Ernest, you are in government today.
Anybody will say
so if you want to wait for 3 months, if you
release you, do it.
Ernest,
And then you are blaming the one who said, let me finish the election.
But the person who said it is not in power.
Mo,
he says
no,
you have the power.
Mo,
So
the
deal with
person
it.
is powerful. Do you think I can speak to His Excellency, the former president, anyhow?
I didn't say
allow
a
him
word
to
when he
that.
was
Please
talking. I didn't agree with everything you said. I just didn't say anything.
To be fair to him.
Things down,
You
but
see,
some of them
don't put anything down. Just don't put anything, because I'll do the same thing to you. You see, Moro, you are in government now. There is something that is affecting the well-being of the people now, and you are saying no. Wait, let them poison the water for 3 more months. After 3 more months, if we win, who told you that you win? Let me tell you something. You will lose this election. Mark it. I told you.
Don't worry. You do your work. Let's do our work.
You have gone and put party apparatchiks in the electoral commission. You have come up with all sorts of anti-rigging methods, administrative things for which you want to steal the election. It will not happen. You will lose because the people of Ghana have seen you people. The president came out and told us that he's putting his presidency on the line. What has he put on the line? Even his daughters are engaged in Galamsey. What do you expect? What do you expect? Oh, but it is clear. As for me, Ernest, let me talk. You know something? If you want to talk again, stop what you are doing.
Yeah, the more you heckle him, the more you
because
make
I'll
it
do the
difficult
same
for him
thing
to
to you.
land.
As for me, I won't take any
Please put it
prisoners.
down. Yes, please go ahead. Please go ahead, Kojo.
Moro, the president's daughters are engaged in Galamsey.
Mining, not necessarily Galamsey.
Whatever. At this point, when you are trying to poison my water, at this point, I'm saying it. Look, the whole of the western part of Accra drink Densu water. Have you seen the state of the Densu? Are you sitting here telling me about semantics? Are you not aware that the president had to go and destroy his own women's organizers' equipment because she was in Etiwa Forest? Etiwa Forest is where Densu and Birim take their sources. So for those of you who don't know any geography and any science, sit there and try to tell us that it's not political. They are poisoning your water. Right? The women's organizer of the MPP is poisoning your water, amongst other things. To the extent that the president had to go and destroy her equipment because it was getting too much. Now we are being told that she sits on a radio station and tells us that they are not going to do anything. That is the talk around the water cooler. That's the real talk around the water cooler.
Right,
why is anybody? Please, let me run.
Because of time, yes.
You see, we sit here and we pass details of what is going on. There are people dying, there are children dying. Yesterday, a medical officer posted a baby he delivered, right? you should see it.
Where is this? Outside Accra or in Accra?
In the areas that are affected by the Galamsey. I'll show you the picture during the break.
Wow.
Tragic. An aborted fetus after 20 weeks. And we sit here and we talk about things that don't even matter. NS is making an excuse that we are saying that because when you people were going on about Galamsey, did President Mahama not come to Parliament and accept responsibility for something he should never accept a responsibility for? And you're sitting here after 3 months. After 3 months, then we're still waiting. After 3 months, after they've killed all of us, will you be sitting here? What are you talking about? You are the government in power. Deal with it now. If you can't deal with it, piss off and let somebody else come and deal with it. We are sitting here. You see there and say we have added 100 soldiers. You can take thousands of policemen, thousands of policemen to go and arrest 26-year-olds demonstrating. Right? As we speak today, Bakavoma has still been denied bail. And you are sitting here talking about 100 soldiers. What can 100 soldiers do? Okay. Listen, you people will not deal with that problem because you have pecuniary interest in what is going on. So what needs to happen, Ghanaians, if you want your water to be clean again, get rid of this lot. They have no good intentions except to steal from you. After stealing from you, now they want to poison you.
But we have to take a short break. When I come back, I'll get Mr. Bemboas to share his perspective, and then Ernest Adade will come in. But this is Inside Pages on Metro Television. It's 0249-155-646. 0249-155-646. Yes, that's vintage Mr. Kojo Chumboaf. He speaks very passionately, and especially, particularly when it has to do with this issue. It's something that he
and if you understand it, you should be passionate about it.
I totally agree with you. 0249-155-646. Some of you have already sent us your messages. When I come back from the break, we'll take those messages. Also remember that in the next few minutes, Mr. Austin Game will be with us. Stay tuned in.
All be lie. Thank you, boss. See you next week. Yo, where is my passport? Where is my passport? Yo, man, I want to Waba.
What is that about?
And then special.
Give my passport.
Madam, relax.
You made me pay for express for 24 hours, and yet it's not in.
You told me that you are telling me this. What's going on? Hello.
This man here has taken my money. That within 24 hours, he'll do my passport for me.
Oh, your terms applies to me. He told me last night. He's telling me this week. That's what they do. Yeah.
Oh, madam.
Please relax. I'll get for you in 24 hours. Hey, Guru man. So you never change. You get passport for someone within 24 hours. Madam Obwa. See, the normal working hours is 9 to 5. Not 24 hours. I'm fat. You guys have made a very big mistake by trusting these people. Now, through digitalization, passport application has been made so easy. Now, you don't need to stress yourself and join any long queue for your passport. All you have to do is to log on to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs website and begin your application by buying a passport application voucher online. Simple and easy. And very soon, all you need to get your passport will be your Ghana card. What is it true? Obisa.
It is possible. A show off. Boot number 1 on the ballot.
With Showmax, your favorite characters now follow you anywhere. Download it today and watch the best in local, international, and everything in between.
This year, I go vote Angaza. Even if they offer me all the watcher in Ghana. Lai, I not go mess up.
Me too. Go T power. Conti.
But with a shine on eyes, I hear see them they massage and change the results at the EC head office.
My people, I'm sure you're still talking about the election again. But what is the gist?
I heard they're able to change the figures at the EC head office and make our vote useless.
Let me assure you, even if we put your party's candidate, chairman, and general secretary as the EC chairperson and deputies, they will still not be able to steal the election for any candidate.
Sir?
The election is won or lost at the polling station, not at the EC head office. Every polling station has party agents watching like hawks.
But what about the ballot boxes? How do we know they are secure?
We dey treat the ballot boxes like them they carry pure gold. The ballot box is sealed with the seals of the Electoral Commission and all the political parties who choose to.
And the counting process, how do we know it's fair?
The counting is done openly for all to watch. Freely. The results go on a carbonized pink sheet. So what kind of pink sheet, no?
Yes.
The pink sheets are signed by all the agents. So we post a copy of the signed pink sheets at the polling station and also give copies to all the parties.
How are the results recorded?
From close to 40,000 polling stations, parties collate results from the pink sheets. Whoever gets the most votes from the pink sheets wins. Are you free? Are you fair?
So if the party fails to check the pink sheet properly,
blame yourself.
Exactly. Look, the way the security services, the party agents, election observers, and even the media make wild they watch the election inside. Nobody go fit steal this election inside. The EC they ensure say the voting process it be free, it be fair, where it be transparent on top. So make confident, then go and cast your vote on election day. But remember, elections are won and lost at the polling station, not at the EC head office. 2024 election process, Lord. It be clean, no kululu.
How can we solve the unemployment crisis in Ghana? Yes, Massa.
By using formula 133.
Can you expatiate?
Say, this simply means 1 job, 3 shifts, 3 people. That is the Mahama 24-hour economy policy. Under this policy, businesses will be given tax incentives, cheaper electricity, financial support, and security support services to encourage them to work 24/7 by adopting 3 work shifts of 8 hours each. This will triple job opportunities in the country. This policy will boost production, increase productivity, and generate well-paying jobs in all participating businesses and public organizations.
Excellent. The 24-hour policy will be a game changer.
Vote for change. Vote for John Mahama and the NDC.
Welcome back. This is Inside Pages. There's been a lot of action off air, but it's all good. It's all well and good. It's all about Mother Ghana. Divergent opinions been expressed, which is fine. That's why we're here. But some of you have sent us your messages. I'll be reading them very shortly. But let me just do this. Let me run this by Ben briefly, and then I can get Kojo and NS to give us their concluding remarks, which will just take a few minutes because I guess that they've spoken enough. But Ben, the president wants all presidential candidates in the 2024 elections and their political parties to sign a national pact committing themselves to the fight against illegal mining. Otherwise, the president can't do much. What do you make of this?
I think any consensus that would actually ensure that we address this problem is okay for us. But ultimate responsibility at all times would reside with the executive. I mean, if there's a change in government or the next government is still NPP, we expect the leadership of the country to take the decisions that would prevent the mess that we are seeing in our waters. And that's why at all times there's a government that must be held accountable and responsible for what is going wrong in the country.
Right.
So maybe to address the politics around this a bit more. I mean, some of us have been working on this issue non-stop.
Okay.
All right. The current hype or bringing the issue to the forefront, where the media is now highlighting it more, it's because the times has called for it. I mean, we've seen new evidence and new data that is showing that clearly it's getting difficult for us to get even drinking water in some of our communities due to the turbidity that has been recorded in recent time. But some of us are even working in the communities, trying to engage them on how they can mitigate, the problem of cyanide and mercury in the water bodies, where they can get their source of water, opting for borehole when it's available, because, I mean, that tends to be much more safer than going direct. We've engaged communities where they put alum in a very turbid water, and then, it's the dust settles and they just keep drinking it. And we tell them you cannot really isolate the mercury from it, so you're better looking for a borehole or something that is safer to drink. So we've been engaging at those levels. Civil society has been engaging, community organizations have been engaging on these issues, but we're getting this national call because now people on social media are getting alarmed and then they're jumping into the conversation. So it's not a political issue for us. It's something we've been working on, and we see the need to act every single day. And that is why we're calling for the state of emergency. And that is the only, for us, reasonable action that can freeze these political conversations and allow us to have a sober reflection on what the actions ought to be. The reality is that the state has failed. All right, the institutions of state have failed. The Minerals Commission, the ministry responsible, the additional licenses to people who have, polluted the environment. It's not just the water we are drinking. I mean, they are destroying the environment, digging everywhere and leaving them, and they're just moving on and digging. All right, and it's not sustainable. The way to deal with it is to stop it now, so you can have a better overview of what the problem looks like, and then you can audit it. Don't let's hastily put boots on the ground, burning and destroying things, and even some of the military are being accused of stealing as well, in some of the videos that we are seeing, so that we can better address the problem that we have on our hands. Whether you are NDC or NPP, mining at this point in time, it is only the president that can invoke that executive order to call for a state of emergency for us to act. And as Mr. Boafo said, people have legitimate right over concessions now, whether they started illegally or not and have been converted to legal concessions. They have licenses they can show the military that this is my concession. So is the military going to be beating people when they have documents showing that this is my concession and I have the right to mine?
Because the passage of a new
Which law are we operating?
will not invalidate
it.
Doesn't.
It doesn't. It doesn't at all. You have granted them concession and they are mining, but you can call for a state of emergency when we can clearly see a mess, being created and polluting everything, and everybody being at risk. And at this point, I heard my brother talking about evidence. I mean, if you want to talk about data that is available, we may not live here today. There is data to support that. And we know that mercury, when it gets into the water, it doesn't just seep and then settle at the base. Right. There's a conversion when bacteria even acts on it to create a more hazardous chemical that feeds into our body, affects our brains and the rest of it. So there is data to show that we are at risk for what is being done in our river bodies, and also to the broader environment, and mining in forest reserves, the cocoa farms that are, some of the videos, I'm sure you have seen them. Yeah. They are now, mining in cocoa farms, taking cocoa farms. Cocoa also is an economic, a tree that is actually fetching us forex on a recurrent basis. And because somebody wants a one-time gold, they are destroying the cocoa farms and mining everywhere. So where are we as a country, and where is the plan to actually ensure that every contributor to the economy is actually protected, and not because somebody wants gold? And even the economic contribution that we keep talking about, you track the data, and I have the data here of small-scale output over a period. And we've seen that even whilst this mining happens more aggressively, national accounting is actually low for the gold that is produced. We are not accounting for the gold. So either people are smuggling it out of the country, not accounting for it through PMMC and the Bank of Ghana, who is now the main purchaser of gold. So we are not even accounting for the gold that we are actually producing to attract the much needed economic gains that we we actually expect to come from the gold extraction. So we're actually empowering few individuals at the expense of the state, creating economic powerhouses for private people and not the state, and they're destroying the environment. And the only way out is for us to call for that state of emergency to freeze everybody from operating at this point, so we can properly audit the impact of the small-scale mines in operation at this point, and be able to address it much more holistically.
That's interesting, and we have about 6 minutes to end the show, and we have a senior statesman, a senior citizen of this country, Mr. Austin Game, who is a Labour, expects us to join us. I don't know how we're going to do this. Perhaps we just give us his brief thoughts, a few minutes, and then I'll probably get Kojo and Ernest to just go 2 minutes each, because they've said most of the things they want to say. So, Ernest, I know he wants to just debunk some of the things that Kojo said. But Mr. Austin Game, good to see you. Good morning.
Good morning.
Okay. Oh, sorry. I'll come to Mr. Gadman shortly, but let me just read some messages, about just 4 of them. I've been going through. I'll just read 4 of the messages that have come through. Now, good morning. Illegal mining is a threat to our very existence. However, some political parties want to take advantage of Galamsey to win and score cheap political points. Every political party should sign the pact. That's coming from Amin in Tamale. Pasoni Tajevu says, Mr. Host asks Mr. Ernest whether he'll be happy if Professor G and his colleagues teaching by calling off the strike. Professor Jampo and his colleagues teaching by calling off the strike, and his ward, who happens to be one of the students, drink this type of water and die, God forbid. Will he be happy? So Prof's solution is to stop every activity on Galamsey. Stephen from Awoshi says, sometimes I see NDC argument as the brain behind all these Galamsey issues. Are they happy we should all drink and die as they are preaching and apportion blames on MPP? Do you think MPP will cause this problem and lose the election? To me, I think NDC also is behind it because they don't have a message. Kweku from La Paz says, Moro, stop bringing that MPP man. His comments are nauseating. He always comes to talk politics. This MPP government doesn't mean well for us. Ekufado has all the power to stop Galamsey. He should stop it. Simple. Moro, the MPP man is going something. We're talking about Ghana's survival, and he's talking about money. You have to be alive to enjoy your money. Greed has entered our system. Eddie from Achimota sends this message. Now, there's quite a number of others. But let me just do Mr. Austin Game briefly. Mr. Austin Game, good morning. It's good to see you. Not many people have been impressed with the sudden U-turn that Labour has made, which is to say that, well, we are impressed with what we've heard after further meetings and deliberations with the government, and so we've suspended the strike. I don't know how that hit you. What's your quick response to that?
Well, it's obvious. Thank you, and thank you for holding the fort.
All right.
To be honest with you, I was equally disappointed, rightly so, because this is about we deliberately or so, or unintentionally, whichever way it is, trying to drink poison and kill ourselves. And should we do that? No. One of the potent bodies that could be able to push the executive, particularly the president and his cabinet, to take a decisive decision to halt this kind of situation we find ourselves in, is organized labor. So I was actually looking forward to them leading us to push government to ensure that we stop this. If you look at what you have been seeing on your screens already, that some teachers now in some of the villages are crying because they can show you the water they are drinking, and our children are drinking. Can you imagine what is deposited in them? But let's bring it to Accra here. What about Densu and Brim feeding the Weja, and over 4 to 6 million people around Weja and these areas will be drinking this water? What about all of us feeding on these vegetables that we are taking, and so forth and so on? What about even if the person is even your enemy living in Takwa, should he drink this water and die? So we should be concerned. And we thought organized labor was going to help. Unfortunately, they assume that some of the decisions made by the president was enough. But that's not the issue. We must, no matter the effort of the soldiers, even now, we must temporarily ban, not using maybe Galamsey is the one deceiving all of us, the small scale mining, the community mining, and artisanal mining all must be suspended in the meantime so that we can have a national conversation on responsible mining and ensure that we give opportunity for as many as possible to mine without damaging our health and eventually killing us. I think that is the whole beef. And organized labor got a bit disjointed, maybe miscalculation, but I think that it's not too late. They should rediscover themselves. They should get back, apologize to themselves, apologize to the whole nation, and ensure that the right thing is done. Nobody can stand, if you climb a mango tree, you want to harvest, and you are, encircled by red ants, the sensible thing to do is come out. And then free yourself and now do the right thing. That's why Ghana, we found ourselves. We've destroyed our water bodies, our forests. We must ensure that we have a restoration of the water body. It may take 1 year, it may take 2 years, the experts may tell us. The sensible thing to do is to stop it now. And I think I want to commend the Catholic Church for what they did, because that is the right thing to do, to put pressure on the executive president, because the president is the only one that has authority and his cabinet to do what is appropriate. To Parliament, I want to say that maybe it's not so much about them, even though they were complicit in it by passing the LI that brought about this mining in the forests and in the water bodies. But the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, we shouldn't wait for Parliament to come. They should revoke that LI immediately. Parliament will only be informed, and that's the end of it. Because after all, you send that in the 21 sitting days, it becomes law. But I think that is where we are, and there should not be any reason for anybody assuming that politics cannot be read into this matter. Because what our friend and brother, the doctor in said in Kumasi clearly shows that he does not know his left from his right. When he had audacity to say that it was NDC people who went and brought people from Togo and Burkina Faso to come and mine in the waters, it was a silly talk. He is a young man. Some of us who were born in Gold Coast won't behave like that. So we want to tell him to desist from such statements going forward. People should not make partisan politics of it. Half of politics is to be done, because politics is about making decisions on behalf of people. But the partisan part of it, which he did, and which various other people, including my own, I have empathy more for NDC, because that was the vehicle in which I went to Parliament with before and became part of the ministry. So clearly, I have empathy for them because of my role now as a mediator. I don't want to be in the forefront of this, because when there is confusion, somebody must resolve it. So all I want to say is that we should all be careful. We are drinking poison. We are trying to kill ourselves through suicide. We want to commit suicide ourselves. And I'm not going to be part of that. I don't expect my enemies to commit suicide also.
Okay.
So I think that that's where we are, and people should refrain from unnecessary support of people drinking this kind of water. But when you open your tap, you don't have anything written on it called MPP and NDC.
Right.
We don't have that.
Okay.
So we should stop it.
Mr. Osingami, unfortunately, we wish we had you much earlier, but I can also understand you had some very pressing things to do. Yeah. You were from some other platform. But I want to thank you so much. I think you've summarized it quite beautifully. You said it all. Ernest, I don't know how we're going to do it, because we're just a minute to go. Just 1 minute.
Organized labor.
Sure.
Saying they did the right thing. Let me explain. If we have an economy, an ailing economy that is just recovering from a recession, and we want to crash the economy with our own hands by asking all the organized labor groups to go on a strike, I believe that will not make sense to somebody like me. So, in as much as we all agree that we should fight this menace, fight anybody inflicting this hardship on us, I believe that we should do it the way Ben suggested. Let's be very thoughtful about it and find ways that we will do it that will be lasting, other than using it as a political tool. I came to this room to let the people of Ghana understand that, look, we all have a problem on our hand, and working on it together as a people, and not using sentiments and using it as a political tool is the best way to go. Otherwise, this you do me, I do you kind of business, me and Kojo are playing.
It won't help us, okay?
It will not help.
Would you spare me because we've actually run out?
We are not playing you do me, I do you. But you have done. Time to go.
You have done, and you are doing.
I want to say a big thanks. I want to say a big thanks to Ernest Adade, who's a team member of the MPP's communications. I also want to say a big thanks to Ben Boache, who is the executive director of the Africa Center for Energy Policy. He's also an energy professional and consultant. He took time off his very busy schedule to join us. Ben, thank you so very much. We appreciate it. Kojo Mboafo is the former chief executive of Ghana Free Zones. He used to be a board, but now he's an authority and also a leading member of the NDC. Thank you so very much, Kojo, for time. And then also Austin Game, we all know him, a labor and alternative dispute resolution expert. He's also made time to join us. 5 minutes for scripts. It was straight to the point, and he said it all. Thank you very much. Mr. Joe Jackson as well, Dalex Finance. Thank you for your time. My name is Awudu Moro. Have a great afternoon and a wonderful weekend. Bye-bye.
Metro TV, insightful and inspiring moments.
Mr. Bempa will tell us when we get to the zoo. Welcome back. We are here at the Accra Zoo, and as you can hear, some of the animals are already making noise. And Mr. Bempa is over there with his crew. So we are going to go in and then continue the conversation about the zoo so that you get to know why we have them here. It's interesting because, I mean, there's a saying that you are in your own habitat. You are